or services. I'm not interested in buying or subscribing. No, thank you. Most especially no copy pasting sales links or promos for quote unquote cheap audience viewers. And you're not a flagged bag-evader, a flagged ban-evader. So I'm wondering, no request of any kind for follow. That's desperately close to what you are doing. Violators of these and any other parts of the Twitch TV rules, TUS or EULA, will be resulted in a warning and maybe immediate ban from my channel. By clicking yes to be able to chat, you agree to and acknowledge that you actually read the following things, and which you didn't. Clearly, you chatbot. And then, let's see if they respond to the warning. They're probably not even listening to me talk right now. It pisses me off. Where was I? I got sidetracked so hard right there. I need a moment. Let's get into the game. Let's get into it. What are we playing? Assassin's Creed. We just barely got rock on. So what was I saying? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Huge protests this weekend. Like, it wasn't just 5 cities. It wasn't 10 cities. It was dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and tens of 20s of cities. I don't know what number total. Well done. And kudos to you guys. Well done. I stand in coalition with anyone on the left of center political spectrum who opposes Trump. But I will remind the Trump sycophants who love to accuse me blindly of nonsense that is not true. I am not a leftist. I am not a Democrat. Never have I been. And I don't think that in the fullness of comprehension of what I propose, that your average leftist American Democrat would be like super automatically assuming that I'm part of the same thing, right? I'm one of those weirdos that just sits with political ideology and speaks of it and addresses it, analyzes it, and what's the word I'm looking for? Comes at all political ideology from a perspective that tends to irritate people that are deeply wrapped up in self-identifying with any political ideology on either side of whatever political divide is currently going on. In part because of my whole like, hey, hashtag both wings are attached to the same freaking thing, yo. My coffee's gone lukewarm. We haven't even gotten into the game. I wish I had been at one of these things, but neither was I actually aware. I was just not logistically aware. I was generally conscious of the fact that organized protests were on their way and had already begun happening. Did I know there was one specifically scheduled nationwide, including in multiple cities within striking range of where I am? I had no clue. So I feel silly. I should try harder. That's my fault. I was not in on that loop. But kudos to the movement and to the groundwork done there by a patchwork of political organizations, I'm sure, and committees and whatnot. Probably with different and disparate, as in not quite all the same, not desperate, disparate. Those are two words that sound way too, unfortunately, the same. With differing approaches and perspectives and reasons for organizing, and yet successful at building a big, massive, collaborative movement. And wow, nobody trashed any Capitol buildings anywhere. And we got 50 of them. You know, there's one in every state. So congratulations. That was really beautiful. I was impressed. I was really moved when I realized, oh wow, what an epic thing just happened that I completely missed entirely. And I feel like a dumbass. But huzzah! Congratulations. I'm impressed. I am duly impressed. And I'm glad to hear and further impressed to know that it's planned to be a sustainable public discourse, public display of dissent movement, with an ongoing and like perpetuating, like rolling schedule. So get on out there, friends. Speak your piece and do it peacefully. And remember, if you voted for Trump and you now realize that maybe, just maybe, you wish you hadn't, you're welcome in the coalition of people who are now going to stand up against all this malarkey. Because no matter how you analyze it, no matter how you slice it, this is truly unwarranted. We really could be doing everything so much more collaboratively and so much more efficiently and effectively than we do, than we allow it to happen. And that's like regardless of left-right talking points and left-right yanking on the rope points. I just mean that from my perspective, for as long as I've been observing the political discourse here, it seems like it's almost by design meant to get people riled up, but not actually solve any problems. And I'm a pragmatist. I'm like, well, you see, the problems keep perpetuating and or getting worse. And I'd like to see solutions, not endless political puppetry in the style of a Punch and Judy show. And you could put a pin in that on your collection of pins on the corkboard. Oh, hey, there you go. We got an actual human being that's going to talk about they voted for Trump and what they think now. Welcome, friend. I have no ill will. I get accused a lot by blind faith defenders of Trump. As you may or may not know, I have quite a weird following on Facebook, which includes, for whatever reason, more Trump supporters than not, who are irritated with my perspective for daring to question how anyone can continue to support someone whose behavior is so unconstitutional, un-American, and categorically criminal in nature. And it's fascinating because they're often confused at why I'm concerned. It's like they never read the court documents of any of the cases that he's lost. It's easy to defend a politician when all you know is their marketing hype about themselves, because that's all feel-good malarkey. You love debate, not defender of Trump. You voted for Trump and think that this is just part and parcel of the process. I'm sorry, hold on. You think that threatening to impose a fake Christian ethno-nationalist theocracy, implement crazy arcane war laws when there is no war we are currently involved in, not directly, and try to stay for a third term, that's just part of the process? I'm sorry, but how do you think that imposing... Have you heard of the family who, like, if there are... what really boggles my mind is when self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists are only regurgitating obviously nonsensical political talking points and don't even really know any of the real conspiracy theories about actual conspiracies. What Trump represents and what he's doing is not part and parcel par for the course in American governance. I mean, the exaggeration of stuff, sure. He's taken it to an nth new degree. Lying for political gain, sure. But trying to impose a fake, because it's not real Christian values, a fake pseudo-Christian ethno-nationalist theocracy on a country in an undemocratic, unconstitutional, you never voted for it kind of way, funded by a foreign-born oligarch that overstayed his student visa and hypocritically is now wanting to deport everyone except for people with HV1 visas, is not par for the course. That is not normal in any way, shape, or form. And you can't argue that it is, There's no way to make that argument. Ethnotheocracy is not normal. Christian nationalism is not normal. Praising God and building a golden effing statue in the image of a politician and claiming he is God's chosen special one is not normal. That is literally the oldest form of psychological manipulation that has been registered and analyzed and recognized as a real thing since before Christianity was invented. Okay? And that's part of the bargain. There's no ignoring that part. There's no minimizing that part. There's no pretending that that part's not happening. And none of that is normal. It's not just normal. It is categorically unconstitutional, un-American, and un-Christ-like. If Jesus was standing right here, right now, next to me, he'd be going, yo, what the fuck are y'all doing in my name? I said none of this. I taught nothing like that. Y'all are disparaging my teachings and ignoring what I presented. And there's no rationalizing that situation away. And like I've said, ain't none of that normal. And there's no way. What do you mean it sounds like trolling? How? There's no trolling. Are you choosing to be unaware of what's going on? Or are you actually that unaware of what's going on? Did you read Project 2025? Have you looked into what the Heritage Foundation is and their ties to the group that calls themselves the Family and what their literal, publicly stated objective is? Which they believe to be God's fucking plan. This is not trolling. This is the reality of the ethno-nationalists that are pulling the strings on the GOP. I'm trying to play Assassin's Creed, but I'm down for this kind of discussion. If you're interested in hearing out my perspective before you tell me that I'm wrong or that I'm trolling, I humbly invite you to, if you're willing to actually hear out my perspective, go listen to my podcast, Good Morning Trumptopia. I've been consistent about my concerns and my fact-based observations and critique of what Trump is about from day one. Now, I didn't put the podcast together until a few months into his first term, but from that day that he rode down the public escalator, I've been speaking out publicly about this guy's a con man. He's purely transactional. He does not believe in the things that he says. He wants to take your money and always has. And running America like a business is a crazy dumb idea, especially when you combine that with made up crazy religious malarkey. They're literally giving Elon Musk more government contracts, and before all this, he already took home $8 billion in government subsidies before he started dismantling the agencies that oversee those contracts so that they can give him more government contracts. That's fighting corruption with corruption. In other words, hypocrisy and bullshit and breaking the system in order to prove that the system's broken is not normal and also a known quantifiable form of manipulation. But yeah, today I'd like to transition. Right now, in this moment, I'd like to move on and play Assassin's Creed. But if you're remotely open-minded and you actually want to discuss things about this further, I've already gone to great lengths to articulate myself in real time during the course of both Trump administrations